Here's something strange. Your brain isn't broken at night. It's actually doing its job a little too well. All day, the noise of the world drowns out your worries. Then the room goes dark, the last sound fades, and suddenly every unfinished thought stands up and starts talking at once. That's not a flaw. It's a feature firing at the wrong time. By the end of this video, I'll show you exactly why a quiet room makes your thoughts louder, and a simple 3-step routine, done on paper before bed, that tells your brain it's safe to finally let go. No willpower, no forcing sleep, just understanding what your mind is actually asking for. Come walk with me. The sky's doing the thing I love right now. Before we go deeper, come sit with me here for a moment. If you find a calm corner like this one tonight, this video will work even better. 2 small things first. If a gentle, science-grounded space like this is something you want more of, subscribe. It's the quiet way of saying send me the next one, and it genuinely helps this little world keep growing. Then, while it's fresh, tell me one thing in the comments. What is the thought that shows up most often when you lie down? Just name it. Naming it is actually the first move in everything I'm about to teach you. And please stay to the very end, because the most powerful step in tonight's routine is the last one, and almost no one does it. It's the part that turns a racing thought from a command you have to obey into something you can simply watch pass by. Let's start with the question itself. Why does a quiet room make your thoughts so loud? It feels backwards. Here's what's actually happening. Your attention is like the reading light over this desk. It can only land on a few things at once. All day, that light is pointed at tasks, conversations, screens, the next thing on your list. Your worries are still there, but they are standing in the dark at the edge of the room, waiting their turn. Then you lie down. The tasks stop. The light has nowhere to point, so your mind swings it straight onto the one shelf you've been avoiding all day. The thoughts didn't get louder, the competition got quieter. Understanding this is oddly freeing, because it means the nighttime flood isn't a sign something's wrong with you. It's just an empty stage finally getting used. But there's a deeper reason your brain keeps replaying the exact same worry, and that's where it gets interesting. Now meet the reason the same thought loops all night. Psychologists have a name for it, the Zeigarnik effect. Almost a century ago, a researcher noticed that waiters could remember complex unpaid orders perfectly, but the moment a bill was settled, the details vanished from memory. The unfinished kept its grip, the finished let go. Your brain does the same thing with worries. Anything you haven't resolved gets tagged as open, and your mind keeps a little tension humming around it so it stays accessible. Up here, think of every open worry as one of those city lights that never switches off. During the day you don't notice them. At night, lying in the dark, they're the only thing glowing, so your brain replays the worry, not to torture you, and not because it's urgent or even true. It replays it because an open loop is its way of saying, don't lose this. That single shift in understanding changes everything about how you respond. Listen to the rain for a second, because this is the heart of it. When a worry circles back for the 10th time at midnight, it feels like a warning, like your mind is insisting something is wrong right now, and you'd better solve it. But that's not what's happening. The repetition isn't proof the thought is true, and it isn't proof it's urgent. It's a reminder system doing its only job, keeping an open loop in view so you don't lose it. Think of a sticky note slapped on the inside of your eyelids. The note doesn't care if the task is important, it just keeps showing up until something tells it, clearly, that it's been handled. That's the reframe that changes your whole night. Your brain is not attacking you. It's a nervous little assistant, afraid you'll forget, holding up the same note again and again. And once you understand that, you stop fighting the note, you start answering it. Here's how. So here's the counterintuitive part most people get wrong. When the loop won't stop, the instinct is to fight it, to push the thought away, to tell yourself to stop thinking and just sleep. But pushing a thought away is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It takes effort, it makes you tense, and the second you tire, it pops back up harder. Your reminder system reads that struggle as more evidence the loop matters, so it holds on tighter. The way out isn't to fight the loop. It's to close it. Remember the waiters, the bill gets paid, the memory lets go. You can pay the bill on a worry deliberately, and you do it not in your head, in the dark, where everything feels enormous, but on paper, where a thought becomes small and finite and outside of you. That's the whole routine. 3 steps to close your loops before your head hits the pillow. Let's walk through the first. Step 1. Make yourself a small ritual out of it. I like to do mine with a warm cup like this, about 30 minutes before bed. Take any piece of paper and set a timer for 5 minutes. Then write down every single open loop in your head, not neatly, not in sentences. Just empty the shelves, the email you didn't send, the thing you said that you're still chewing on, the appointment, the worry about someone you love, the random "did I lock the door?" Big and small, all of it, until the timer runs out. There's a real mechanism here. Getting a worry out of your head and onto paper hands it to external storage, so your brain no longer has to spend energy holding the loop open. Research on writing before bed points the same way. People who offload their worries onto paper tend to fall asleep faster than people who just lie there. But a raw list alone isn't enough. And step 2 is the part that makes your brain actually believe you. Now, a quiet trick that makes step 1 far more powerful. As you empty your head onto the page, push each loop from a feeling into a sentence. I feel anxious is a fog. Your brain can't close a fog because there's nothing specific to handle, so it just keeps the whole cloud open. But I'm worried I'll forget to call the pharmacy back has edges. It's a real, finite thing, and finite things can be dealt with. So as you write, keep asking, what specifically? Anxious about what? The more precisely you name the loop, the smaller it gets, like walking up to a shape in these dark trees and finding it's just a branch, not a figure. Most of the dread we carry at 3 a.m. is shapeless on purpose because we never let it finish forming into words. Writing forces it to finish, and the moment a worry has a clear name, you can do the one thing that finally lets your brain set it down. You can give it an appointment. That's step 2. Step 2, and this is the one that makes the magic stick. Go back down your list, and next to each worry, write a real when and where you'll actually deal with it. Not someday. A specific window, tomorrow, 6 p.m., at the kitchen table, I'll sort the bills. Thursday on my lunch break, I'll make that call. This is called a worry window, and it works because of exactly what we learned about open loops. Your brain holds a worry open because it's afraid you'll forget. The instant you give that worry a concrete time and place, you've made a promise it can verify. The loop has a closing point now, a moment it's scheduled to be handled. And a scheduled loop is, to your brain, a handled loop. You're not solving the problem at midnight. You're not pretending it doesn't matter. You're simply telling your reminder system, in language it trusts, I've got this, and here's exactly when. But for your brain to believe you, one detail has to be true. Here's the detail that makes or breaks the worry window. You have to actually show up to it. Your brain is like this lake, it reflects your track record back at you. The first few nights, when a worry says, "But what about me?" and you answer tomorrow at 6, your mind might not fully believe it yet. So when tomorrow at 6 arrives, sit down for even 10 minutes and tend to that worry list. You don't have to fix everything, you just have to prove you keep the appointment. Do that a handful of times and something shifts. Your brain learns that tomorrow at 6 is real, that loops you park actually get handled, and it starts letting go the moment you schedule them, sometimes before you've even finished writing. That's you building trust with your own nervous system. Skip the windows and it learns the opposite, that your promises are empty and it had better keep nagging. Honor them, and the nights get quieter on their own. Now, the step almost no one does, the one I promised you. Step 3. The one almost no one does, and the most powerful of the 3. When a thought shows up, change the words you wrap around it. Instead of "I'm going to mess up tomorrow," say, silently or on the page, "I'm having the thought that I'm going to mess up tomorrow." That tiny phrase in front, "I'm having the thought that," does something remarkable. It pulls you out of the mist and lets you seize it as mist. A thought, by default, feels like a fact and a command. It says jump and you brace. But the moment you label it as a thought, you create a gap between you and it. You become the one watching the weather instead of the one lost inside it. Psychologists call this diffusion, and it's the difference between "I am anxious" and "I notice anxiety passing through." One is a prison. The other is a window. The thought may not disappear, but it stops being something you have to obey. Let me show you exactly how to use this when the spiral hits at 3 a.m. Sit with me in the garden a moment, because this is worth slowing down for, and if this is landing, subscribe so the next session finds you when you need it. Here's why labeling works so deeply. Your brain treats an unlabeled thought as reality itself. It doesn't say "here is a worry." It just floods you with the feeling of the worry as if it were happening now. That's why 3 a.m. thoughts feel so enormous and so true. Labeling breaks the spell by turning an experience into an object you can look at. You go from being the storm to being the gardener watching the weather move over the garden. And notice, you don't argue with the thought. You don't try to prove it wrong, because arguing keeps the loop open and engaged. You just name it, let it be there, and let it drift, the way you'd let a cloud pass over these flowers without grabbing it. A thought you don't grab can't pull you under. So when the spiral comes, you'll meet it with 3 quiet sentences. So here you are. It's 3 a.m., the spiral's started and the page from earlier is doing its work, but the mind still stirs. This is where you reach for 3 sentences. Say them slowly, like waves, one on each out-breath. First, this is an open loop, not an emergency. That names what's happening and takes the urgency out of it. Second, it's written down, and it has a time. That reminds your reminder system the loop is already handled, so it can stand down. And third, I'm having a thought, and I can let it pass. That's your labeling, your distance, your window instead of a prison. 3 sentences. It's a loop, not an emergency. It's written down and scheduled. I'm having a thought and I can let it pass. Breathe out long and slow after each one. A longer exhale gently nudges your body toward rest. You're not forcing sleep. You're giving your brain the 3 things it was asking for all along: safety, a plan, and permission to set the thought down. Let's put the whole walk together. Keep 1 page by your bed, nothing fancy, just paper and a pen you turn into your own little wind-down sheet, the same page each night. 30 minutes before sleep, you do the 3 steps in order. 1. 5 minutes. Empty every open loop onto the page, turning each fog into a clear, named sentence. 2. Give each loop a worry window, a real when and where, and then actually keep those appointments, so your brain learns your promises are real. 3. When a thought still tugs at you, label it. I'm having the thought that, and let it drift like a cloud over this park. That's the routine. Notice what it isn't. It isn't forcing yourself to stop thinking, and it isn't pretending your worries don't matter. It's the opposite. It's taking them seriously enough to write them down and schedule them, so your mind can finally trust that nothing will be lost in the dark. And then sleep has room to arrive. Let's tuck the night in. Remember the shape of it. A quiet room makes thoughts louder because the competition went quiet, and your brain replays a worry not because it's true or urgent, but because it's an open loop, afraid you'll forget. So you close the loops on paper, empty them out, give each one a real when and where, and label the thoughts that linger so they stop feeling like commands. Do that, and sleep stops being a fight. I release a new calm session like this every week, so if tonight helped, subscribe and let the next one find you. And next time, I'll show you the one small thing to do in the first few minutes after you wake up that quietly sets your whole nervous system up for an easier night. Most people get their mornings and their sleep exactly backwards. Tell me in the comments, what's the one thought that keeps you up most? Name it tonight. That's where closing the loop begins. Sleep softly. I'll see you in the next one. Mind in Bloom.
Follow for a new calm reset every night. Mind in Bloom.